Hi, I'm Teylor Smurl, and I'm alone. This is neat, but minus my dad, Tommy Smurl, just for this week. He had some unfortunate dental surgery that he had to take care of, so he is not in the mood to be able to imbibe or communicate. So he'll be back next week on the podcast and on the video, but for this week, for our Cynar cocktails, you just got me. Sorry about that. Although I do think that Dad is, as promised on the podcast, crafting us a artichoke mascot that I will insert pictures of in this video if that happens. I don't know, maybe like here. Ba-ba! Maybe you're laughing. Maybe that was good. Who knows? Hopefully it was funny. All right. So thank you, Dad. I love you. I'm sad that you're not here, but I will make Cynar cocktails in your honor while you recover. Cynar is an Italian Amaro. It has 13 botanicals and plants involved in its making, one of which is artichoke. Cynar is not necessarily artichoke forward. Artichoke is definitely a flavor within there. It has a really nice earthy herbal bitterness to it, but it's also pretty sweet. It's pretty mellow. It's pretty mild as far as bitters go. And I find it pretty versatile, actually, if you just want to add some earthy bitterness to a drink. So we're going to demonstrate that with two drinks today. One that's going to be a little bit more stirred and boozy, and one that's going to be a little bit light and refreshing. All right, so the first way that I ever had Cynar mixed in a cocktail for me was a Cynar Negroni. It's pretty standard. It's literally just Cynar in place of the Campari. So you've got an ounce of Cynar, an ounce of Sweet Vermouth, an ounce of gin, stirred over ice, garnished with an orange. Fine. To me, I like Campari Negroni because it's very sharp. It's a very bright, citrusy bitter. Whereas when you sub in the Cynar, it's more of an earthy, rich bitter, and so there's not a lot of sharpness to the drink. It kind of gets a little flabby, but I do think that same concept of the Cynar Negroni can be applied to make a really good drink of a very similar structure. Sort of a cousin to the Negroni is the Boulevardier or the Old Pal, where we see rye or bourbon subbed in for the drink. That's kind of the direction that I'm going to move this in. So for this drink, I'm going to use Cynar, obviously. For my vermouth, I am going to use Carpano Antica. It's actually my favorite sweet vermouth. This is a Torrini style vermouth. It has a little bit of vanilla note. I find it works really well with dark spirits specifically, and that's why as my base, I'm going to use Old Overholt Rye. So a traditional Negroni would be 1-1-1. I'm going to change that up a little bit because even though this is a bitter, I think it has a lot more residual sweetness than Campari does. And this, because it's a bit more full-bodied with those vanilla notes, I think it also plays a little bit sweeter. So we're going to do 3/4 ounce, 3/4 ounce, an ounce and a half in this drink. So we're still going to get that 3-ounce pour, but we're going to slightly adjust those proportions to give us a drink that I hope will be a little bit more balanced, a little bit less sweet, a little bit drier. So I'm going to build this in a rocks glass. This is a burb glass from Alex. Thank you, Alex. Start with, usually traditional Negronis don't have bitters, but I'm going to add just a little bit of orange bitters. And then, like I said, 3/4 ounce of my Cynar. 3/4 ounce of my Antica Vermouth. And then an ounce and a half of my Old Overholt Rye. I've got one big cube that I'm just going to stir this over. And I'm going to garnish this with a nice big peel of orange. All right, so there we go. So I don't know, this is a Cynar Old Pal sort of situation. We'll just call this a bitter buddy. There we go. Hey, pal, buddy, it's bitter, artichokes. Look at me, naming stuff. It's a new year. It's a new me. Dad would be so proud if only he was here. Maybe I'll just insert another picture of an artichoke here to show his approval. That's good. That made me feel good. Okay, cheers. First off, I mean, it's balanced more than anything. You get some good citrusy notes from that orange peel expression and from the orange bitters. There's a nice, deep, rich herbal note from the Cynar and from the vermouth. That rye is giving you a nice spice, but ultimately it just tastes really balanced. It doesn't taste too sweet, it doesn't taste too boozy. It works out really well, and I think it's a great way of drinking Cynar. If you're a fan of old fashions, if you're a fan of Manhattans, or Negronis, or Old Pals or Boulevardier, I think this would fall within your wheelhouse of your palate. All right, off with you. Delicious, delicious drink. So the next drink, we're gonna also build in the glass. So these are simple. You know, the more we do these videos, I ultimately want them to be tools for you to feel confident going to the liquor store, buying some things, coming home and trying them. So as often as I can offer the same liquors for both drinks. I think that's cool, right? Then you know two ways of using it. So I really tried to do that for this episode. The last drink used Cynar, Antica, and rye. So we're going to use those same three spirits in this drink. We're just going to add in a couple things to make it a little bit more light and refreshing. All right, I've filled my glass with ice. Now, I'm going to start with, once again, some bitters. Orange bitters. Then a ½ ounce of vermouth. Such a satisfying sound. Ooh. For this drink, we're going to do an ounce of Cynar. And then we're also going to do an ounce of Overholt, or rye. All right, so my last two ingredients, the first is going to be 1.5 ounces of fresh orange juice. See, I think the thing with orange juice cocktails is often we treat orange juice like a topper, like the big pour or the base for a drink, which I think just everything will taste like orange juice then. But I think as an ingredient, it actually works fine. All right, and then we're just gonna top this with soda water. I'm gonna give it a quick stir. And then I'm gonna garnish this with a whole orange wedge. Oh, that's good. Kind of tastes almost like sweet tea in that it starts sweet up front and it ends really nice, dry and herbal and bitter. It's very refreshing. So maybe if you don't enjoy stirred, serious, super boozy cocktails, but you still want to try out Cynar, this is a great alternative. And honestly, I like the rye in here. I think it makes it a little bit more of a cocktail. It makes it a little bit more structured. But you could even leave the rye out in this case and just use vermouth and Cynar and have a really beautiful, super low alcohol sipper. Great for brunch, for like a luncheon. And the cool thing about this too is you could mix together the juice and the booze in a pitcher and just serve it over ice, top it with soda, have it ready to go. So it's a very low maintenance drink too. So there you go. I'm sad that my dad is missing out on these two delicious drinks involving artichoke. I was honestly excited to see him drink a vegetable. Everybody say, hey, Tommy Smurl, feel better after your surgery. That would mean a lot to me. We'll be back next week together. But as always, these recipes will be listed down below. And if you want to find us on the social medias, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at NeatBoozecast. You can email us on Gmail at neattheboozecast.com. If you want to find us on Facebook, you can talk to my dad and ask him how his teeth are going personally. We have a Facebook group. And if you'd like to support us, help us purchase booze and equipment and stuff, we would be super appreciative, and we have a Patreon. But in any case, we're just happy you're here. Thank you for joining us. And also, there's a lot of new stuff that I've got planned for the new year on this YouTube channel specifically. So if you're a fan of this, we got a lot more content coming for you that I'm psyched about. All right. So thank you so much for joining me, just little old me today. I've been Teylor Smurl, and this has been Neat.